You can't make Odyssey with black people. I fucking will. Let me start this video by saying that I'm not a Nolan fanboy. I kind of grew up with the Dark Knight trilogy and I love listening to the Interstellar soundtrack when I'm in a depressive episode, but I didn't care that much for Dunkirk or Tenet. My love for Nolan was kind of reignited with the release of Oppenheimer, which I really loved. But even after how much I loved Oppenheimer, I was not super excited for the Odyssey. I remember the first teaser where Jon Bernthal is like, a prison can't hold Matt Damon, and then we see Matt Damon on a raft, and I was like, okay. And all of the other subsequent trailers felt kind of colorless. Nothing really grabbed my attention. I remember when the final trailer came out, a lot of people online were kind of like, why does it look like that? What's worse? An African living in a Western country said that there shouldn't be an African in a Western work of fiction. This, combined with the casting of Elliot Page, just made all hell break loose. On one side you had people saying that the trailers didn't look very exciting, and on the other you had like online racial theorists explaining how the Odyssey is the end of Western civilization because of casting choices. So following this giant shitstorm, I had no idea what to expect of the film. I wouldn't say I went to the film with low expectations, I just didn't know what to expect. But to my surprise, I really loved the Odyssey. I think a lot of this online discourse could be avoided with one thing. Instead of looking at it as the Odyssey, you should look at it as Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. I wouldn't mind if that was the official title. It's not an attempt at a hyper-precise adaptation of the original. It's a director's specific take on the work. And I don't know if you're ready for this hot take, but I think Christopher Nolan is a good director. This film is pure Nolan on all fronts. For example, I don't mind that Agamemnon looks like Darth Vader, because to me this is not the Odyssey, it's Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. And all of the differences can be, in my opinion, easily accepted if you see the film through this lens. And to be honest, it's Christopher Nolan's decisions as a screenwriter that really make this film great for me. But more about that in a second. Let's look at the casting outrage. I think that one thing that online people always fail to learn is that you should always wait with sharing your opinions until after the movie comes out. Because an article or a trailer doesn't paint the full picture. I can see how the castings might look odd, but once you watch the film, are they really that strange? Who does Elliot Page play? He plays Sinon, the physically weakest soldier you see in the film. A man who shouldn't even be there, he took Robert Pattinson's place. And yes, he's a very important character in Nolan's Odyssey. He ends up being a huge motivational force for Odysseus. But he's not portrayed as like a totem of traditional masculinity. He doesn't even have a lot of screen time. So I don't know how you can watch this film and feel like his casting is like progressive propaganda. Also, I don't know if you are ready for the hot take of the year, but don't you think that the casting of Elliot Page is the opposite of progressive? To cast a trans man as the weakest soldier who is killed in the very opening scene? I don't know, I'm not a professor of gender studies, but it doesn't feel like someone pushing progressive propaganda down my throat. Then there's Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Helena of Troy. And you know, Helena probably didn't look like this. But she also didn't look like the leader of the Gestapo. Nobody was upset when Diane Kruger, the most German woman to ever live, played her. So here's my hot take in the form of a question to spice things up. It's easy to assume that in the world of Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, there are a lot of gorgeous women running around Greece, just like the actual Greece. So you have this female character that every man wants. Wouldn't it make sense that she's unique? That on top of being a gorgeous woman, she's also in some way exotic? And finally, worst of all, the one controversy I actually agree with is the refusal to cast Stavros Halkias, an actual Greek-American legend. Maybe he wouldn't work as Odysseus, but you could find a role for him somewhere. Anyway, enough of this race theory. Let's get to a real subject. As I was watching this film, I was enjoying it, but not loving it. The Cyclops portion was amazing to me, but I didn't enjoy the giants, for example. It felt like it started and ended way too early, which could also be said about other sequences in the film. But there is one sequence late in the film that puts everything you've seen until then into a different context. And this scene made me fall in love with Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. It's the scene where Odysseus, still in his disguise, talks to Penelope, and he reveals the remorse he feels for destroying Troy. The guilt that Odysseus feels is not taken from the original Odyssey. It's Christopher Nolan's invention. He recontextualizes Odysseus as a soldier with PTSD. And while Athena was the second biggest character in the OG story, in the film she's something entirely different, a manifestation of Odysseus' guilt that will haunt him forever. And I love this. It's a huge addition. Many people described it as Christopher Nolan Christianizing the Odyssey.
The concept of atonement doesn't exist in Greek culture. It doesn't exist in the Greek language. It doesn't exist in Homer's Odyssey. It exists in your Odyssey. Yeah. So I guess a natural question that I had when watching the film was, did you Christianize the Odyssey?
6, 7.
When you study screenwriting or writing in general, early on you are told about two very important things. One, you should try to make your writing personal. Anyone can learn screenwriting theory or structure. It's what you personally bring to the table that helps you stand out. 2. The zeitgeist. As a writer, you should be as aware as possible of the collective consciousness of your society. Nolan often makes his films personal. Perhaps what will go down as the greatest scene of his career is the moment in Interstellar, when Coop finds out how much his daughter aged after his mission went wrong. It's a devastating feeling, and Nolan understands it as a father. He stated that it's inspired by the fear of your kids growing up way too fast. And I think he puts a personal fear in Oppenheimer and Odyssey. They are both about a man who, through his genius, unleashes something horrible onto the world. The Trojan horse and the atom bomb are the same thing. A gate that leads to the end of civilization. And I think that Nolan's generation didn't do the best when it comes to what kind of a world they created. And I think that you can see it in these films. The fear of the possibility that the world his generation created for the next one is far worse than the one he grew up in. This goes hand in hand with the zeitgeist. Nolan always puts a piece of current societal issues into his films. The reason why the Joker is more of a terrorist in The Dark Knight is that he plays with the collective fears of America post 9/11. If you're a nerd like me, you will love the fan theory that Nolan's Joker is ex-military, possibly a CIA agent who went rogue. Go and look for the theory online, it's fascinating. It is in Odyssey and Oppenheimer that the zeitgeist really works, precisely because it's combined with a personal fear. Everyone I know feels like the world is going to shit. It's not just the violence we see daily. There is a shift in society. People are tired and mean. And that's the world that Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey portrays, a civilization at its end. It's a story that's thousands and thousands of years old that speaks about our world today. You can consider it a bit goofy or overwritten, but I love the reveal that the sea people are Odysseus and his men. The end of the world is not a distant enemy coming for us. It's our own moral failing. You remember how I said that the official name should be Christopher Nolan's Odyssey? Actually, it should be Christopher Nolan's Odyssey 2026. Hit me up for marketing advice. And you know who else used the distant past to tell stories about the present? Fucking Homer. The Odyssey was composed in the 8th century BC, but it's set in the 12th century BC. So if you're unhappy about the differences between Homer's Odyssey and Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey 2026, that's completely valid. But here's my hot take. By changing the Odyssey so much, Nolan is in a way honoring the spirit of Homer's storytelling process. Do you remember when I mentioned that Nolan Christianized the Odyssey? I meant it because of his additions to the story, such as the concept of atonement and treating strangers with love. But also, let me offer a hot take. And you heard some hot takes in this video, but this is the hottest take of them all. You know how there's a billion articles and so much discourse about how the Odyssey is woke? I find this to be really funny. Do you know why? Because Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey 2026 is a conservative film. Not only is it a Christianized version of a classic, what is The Odyssey about? It's about a man who bangs Charlize Theron for 7 years and then goes back to his kingdom because his useless chud son is incompetent and needs to be shown how it's done. Once home, he slaughters all the men who want to touch his baby girl. The main villain of the film is an effeminate, theatrical pussy. The central idea of the destruction of the society starting on the level of an individual is an old-school, conservative thought. Charlie Kirk makes a cameo. And what does Odysseus do at the end? After destroying civilization and getting his high school sweetheart back, he puts his nepo baby Chad son in charge and just fucking leaves. Deal with the end of the world, son. It's the ultimate boomer fantasy. Boomers destroyed our world and then retired to Florida. Or Spain if you are from Europe like me. I don't know where all the international boomers go to retire. This last part is a joke, but my point is this. Conservatives could have taken this film and run victory laps around the world, saying how the best movie of the summer is full of conservative ideas. But they can't, because 6 months before the movie was released, they decided they hate it because there's too many brown people. And some took the L pretty well, but some are delusional about the success of the Odyssey. The most mind-blowing thing to me is that there are people who still continue the lie that Elliot Page plays Achilles. They make shit up just so they can be angry. And even if you see this film as woke, does it really matter? You have to be who cares maxing if you want to survive in this day and age. When Christopher Nolan was asked what he thinks about the discourse, he was like, baby, been there, done that. And he has experience with online chats. When Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker, people hated the announcement online. But then the film came out and Heath Ledger's Joker ended up being one of the most iconic characters in cinema history. Because this online shit doesn't matter. The Odyssey trailer had 400,000 dislikes, and then it came out and is bound to make $1.5 billion in its box office. And you might say, oh, you say this internet shit doesn't matter, and then you make a whole video about it. And you would be right. But the reason I want to talk about it is that I find the discussion disappointing. I love the Odyssey. I have problems with it. I think the pacing is really odd in some places, and visually it could have been a tiny bit more creative, especially with the costumes. There's a funny thing about Christopher Nolan, where he makes all these brilliant choices as a craftsman, but also makes decisions that are beyond questionable, like the death scene in Rises, or the worst line of all time in Tenet.
Everyone and everything that's ever lived, destroyed instantly. Says enough?
Including my son.
But Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey 2026 is still one of my favorite films of the year. Watching it was an experience. I threw around many big words about it being Christianized and its themes or whatever, but it also works as a spectacle. The film cost a lot, and you can see it. The practicality of Nolan's filmmaking is really great, because it's shot on so many real, interesting locations. So much fucking effort went into this film, and the amount of talent that took part in it is mind-blowing. It's a film that makes me inspired by seeing what humans are capable of, and it's amazing to witness what the mainstream would consider the greatest director alive, doing his take on one of humanity's most important works of fiction. Call me pretentious, but watching it made me feel human. I don't even know what that means, but few movies give me this kind of feeling. And we could have been discussing all this craft, all this process of adaptation, all of the messages of a civilization ending, but instead we discuss if there are black people in Greece. And it supports a belief I have that I'm sure many people share with me, which is that the big players, the ones with all the power in the world, want us divided. They want us to argue about stupid shit that doesn't matter. Because what is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey 2026? It's a $250 million anti-war film. A lot has been written about it. How many articles were written about it in relation to the many wars going on right now? I don't think I've seen a single one. This is my invitation. Fuck all the online discourse and just talk about the film with people in real life. And I'm not saying you have to like it. I can easily see why you would dislike it, but I assure you, whatever you will discuss will be more beneficial to you than the online echo chamber you would find yourself in. I know people in my personal life who refuse to see The Odyssey because they saw articles about how it's Hollywood's leftist propaganda, and it really pains me. So please, don't be like these people. Thank you for watching. I think there's been plenty of hot takes for the day. Please consider liking and subscribing. Okay, final hot take. I think Tom Holland is fantastic in this film. And if you are one of those people saying he did a bad job, I think you are delusional. Okay, bye.